All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Keith Turman, Gervonta Davis and Mayweather Promotions, and Keith Turman making the call out, said, hey, if you guys are serious about making this fight, send me the contract, show me the money, and we are on. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back. So you can call this the great bluff call by Keith Turman. He is calling the bluff of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Gervonta, and actually Leonard Ellerbe, and saying, hey, if you're serious about having me fight Gervonta Davis, send me the contract. Before we get into the meat of that conversation, though, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're not already subscribed, please, and also please hit the like button, share, and the share button. It definitely helps grow the channel and is greatly appreciated. So over the last few weeks, there's been conversations about Keith Turman and Javonte Davis fighting one another. It seems to me, and maybe I've missed something. If I did, put it in the comment section. I could have missed where the conversation had originated, but it seemed to me that it was coming more from the Mayweather camp and talking about the potential of the fight. I know that Leonard Ellerbe himself said that he would make the fight in a second, and that Gervonta Davis would knock out Keith Turman. Well, if that's the case, then now Keith Turman is saying, well, make the fight then. Show me the money, show me the contract, and we can do it. So it seems like the next step is going to be for them to go ahead and make the fights. But there's some things outside the ring besides common sense that tells me that this fight is not likely to happen. This seems to me to be, for the most part, a lot of internet, internet conversations going on about who shot John, that type of stuff, and not really a fight that is being seriously contemplated where, you would take it to the network and the network would consider it. But hey, stranger things have happened, stranger fights have been made, and, this may be one of them. But with Keith Turman's giving it the go-ahead, and this is the first time that I've really heard him say, okay, I haven't heard anything from them. Let me know something, and I'm willing to do the fight. This seems to me to be the most serious call out of this whole conversation between the two. Now, Gervonta Davis, on his behalf, aside from Mayweather, doesn't really seem like to me that he really wants this fight, because he was talking about, and this is some sources that I had, that he really wants to be fighting down in the lightweight division against the guys that are there for him to fight there, that really do mean a lot. And I honestly think that I would agree with Gervonta Davis in that regard. The fight with Teofimo Lopez means way more to Gervonta Davis's legacy than a Keith Turman fight does, especially since there's no belt on the line, and there's not going to be a belt on the line for the Keith Turman fight because of what's going on with the WBA. And actually, the WBA might be taking away all of, at least two of Gervonta Davis's belts, because they have been pressed upon by the American Boxing Commission to remove a lot of their titles. So they're ordering a lot of unification fights, and then they're finding reasons to just strip fighters. Like they stripped Guillermo Rigondeaux and said that the fight between he and Casemiro wasn't a sanctioned fight. So they stripped that secondary WBA belt from him, and more than likely they're not going to refill it. So there's that pressure on Gervonta Davis to fight the real champions, and one of the real champions, and I think probably the only guy that can be considered the real champions down at lightweight, is Teofimo Lopez. So I would much rather see a fight between Gervonta Davis and Teofimo Lopez than have a fight between Gervonta Davis and Keith Turman, because if Gervonta Davis is able to beat Keith Turman, I just got to be honest with you, it's because something's wrong with Keith Turman. There's no way that if there wasn't something wrong with Keith Turman, that Mayweather Promotions would even be entertaining the fight between the two, because Gervonta, because if that was the case, then Gervonta Davis would be talking about fighting Errol Spence Jr. He would be talking about fighting Terrence Crawford. He'd be talking about fighting Manny Pacquiao, guys like that. Or I don't think he would be talking about fighting Yordenis Ugas, but still, you get my point. He would be all the way, really into the welterweight division. If he was to go up there and fight Keith Thurman, then all he's really trying to do is just win a one-off fight against Keith Turman for a belt, that really doesn't mean anything. And again, those belts, hopefully the WBA is going to follow through on the order, basically the order that it got from the Association of Boxing Commissions to get rid of their belts. Hopefully that belt won't even be available for them to fight for. So there won't be any way for you to say that, I moved up there because I was chasing another championship. That's definitely one of the things that has really been bad in boxing lately, and it has been for several years, but it seems like it was getting really to the point of being ridiculous with all of these belts and having people move out of their weight classes and move around. I personally don't like that. I wish we could return to a time where, and I know that we're not going to be able to return to a time when there's 7 weight classes and there is, one sanctioning body. At least I don't think that I will be able to see that in the remainder of my days. But at the very least we can do is stop this progressive push to breaking up boxing into a million pieces so that you can monopolize and claim that your one little piece is the best of all of the other pieces, because that's what's going on now. As far as Keith Turman and Javonte Davis goes, though, he's thrown it out there. Keith Turman has thrown out there, send me the contract, tell me if you're serious. Now, if you don't see a contract, you don't see an offer coming from Mayweather Promotions, then you know that they weren't really being serious about it, and it was just a bunch of talk. Now, usually in this situation, I would just chalk it up to it's a lot of the just fun conversation that's going on between boxing fans, because there's nothing wrong to rumors being spread between boxing fans, about who they think is going to fight and who they don't think is going to fight and who would beat who, and all of that. That's what makes boxing fun, especially during time periods where there's nothing really going on in the ring, because boxing is so broken down and so watered down with all of these belts and with all of these weight divisions. But as far as what is going to actually happen, my bet is that this is not going to be something that is serious. This is going to be something that is going to be maybe a little bit more back and forth for a couple weeks, but then it's just going to be forgotten and moved to the side. I don't believe that Keith Turman is going to get an offer to fight Gervonta Davis, but plus Gervonta Davis has got more serious problems that he's got to figure out, which is, which of the belt is he going to choose to keep when the WBA strips him? Is it going to be the WBA regular at 140 pounds? Is it going to be the WBA regular at 135 pounds? Or is it going to be the real WBA championship that's at 130 pounds? Who knows? But all in all, I like hearing that Keith Turman is willing to do it, and then he called him out on it. And we'll see whether or not the Mayweather team responds with an actual offer. You let me know what you think in the comment section. This is what I thought. And with that, I'm out. Peace.